Our next speaker is Jody to speak to the topic, The Thing I Love the Most About Myself Is. To speak to The Thing I Love the Most About Myself Is, Jody Dontier.
What do you love most about yourself? Well, over the years, I had to grow to love my story, but it was not always that way. And I would love to share 3 parts of my story with you and how you can begin to have your story as the thing you love the most. You see, when I was younger, I grew up with a very unresourceful, angry mother. You're terrible, don't do this. And a very fearful, scared father. He didn't even want to share what he had for breakfast, let alone about his personal life. So I grew up being very overloaded with anger and shame and fear. And it led me to dislike who I am and dislike my story. And I assume you can maybe connect with that your story might have been something you're shameful. Or maybe there's parts of your story that you're still feeling shame around. But then I learned something very, very powerful. And it's from Brené Brown. It's the power of vulnerability, and that vulnerability is strength. We should have a strong back, a soft front, and a wild heart. And I realized my wild heart needed to love my story. My wild heart needs to love others and their stories. So I had to undergo a very, very deep level of healing. I had to go deep into the healing around my anger and deep into the healing around my fear. And then I was able to find myself. Because as Buddha explains, we become what we focus on. And I was focusing on the anger and fear too much in my life and hated my story. But when I was able to overcome that shame, when I was able to own my story and love my parents for who they are, yet still be angry about things I went through in the past, I began to love all of me and love my story. And I became the person that I was meant to be. So I invite you to reflect on your story. How is your mother and a father affecting your life? And do you hate your story? Because the most powerful thing that you can ever love about yourself is your story. And so I invite you now to think, what are the things that you still feel shame about? What are the things you still feel angry and fear about? And how can you overcome that? Because to love your story is going to be the most powerful thing that you ever do in your life. And maybe you'll also love your story like I love mine. Contest chair.